beneath the cold, deep water where light can't reach. There are giant machines that are silently passing by. Bring enough power to decide. The face of a whole war nuclear submarine. It's not just an underwater vehicle, it's a sinking fortress. Is a hanging sword on every global strategic chessboard. They don't need to float to refuel. You don't need radio waves to navigate. It doesn't make any noise. And most importantly, inside the hull are nuclear warheads. Could be launched from the bottom of the ocean when no one expected it. Today's story will take you to the bottom, to discover top-secret technologies, the silent mysteries that helped nuclear submarines. It became a symbol of absolute power in the 2nd century. The fashion from the heart is nuclear reactors to the crust. It's designed to be invisible. From the system regenerating the air for hundreds of people over several months, not until the ability to strike attack destruction from the ocean floor. It's not a legend, it's a reality. Nuclear submarines, the pinnacle of military science. The ultimate symbol of power. Nuclear strategy and deterrence as of 2025. The U.S. Navy operates 3 main classes of nuclear submarines. It's divided into 2 strategic task groups, SSN attack submarine and SSN ballistic missile submarines. In the SSN group, the Los Angeles class has been a force since the 1970s. More than 60 were built. There are about 26 in operation. They're fast, but the noise level is so high that they're being replaced. Next up is the Seawolf class. Only BA pieces due to the cost is too expensive, but it's capable of deep diving, high speed, and extremely quiet operation. It's designed to confront Soviet submarines. Soviet Union during the Cold War. The most popular is the Virginia class, started operation from 2004. It's still being closed. With optimized design for modern warfare, this class is invisible. They can launch cruise missiles, Tomahawk and Special Forces support in the Strategic Ship Group SSBN. The United States operates 14 Ohio-class aircraft. It is the largest submarine ever built, each carrying 24 Trident HD ballistic missiles per year. In addition, 4 of them have been converted to SSGN. Attack submarine carrying cruise missiles. The future of Columbia. Next generation Ohio class. It is under construction and will be operational from 2031. Extremely low noise, superior stealth capabilities. Columbia-class submarine. It's the latest generation of ballistic missile submarines, and the most advanced of the U.S. Navy. With a length of about 171 meters, Columbia will become a ship, the largest submarine ever built by the United States. It's equipped with a new generation of nuclear reactors. It is capable of operating for 42 years, without refueling. Columbian-class promised will greatly reduce maintenance costs and downtime. Each ship can carry 16 Trident, 2 ballistic missiles, nuclear deterrent at a strategic level for decades. Not just strong. Columbia also has an ultra-low noise reduction system. It's almost invisible in the ocean. This will be the core of the force. U.S. strategic nuclear deterrent in the 21st century, a silent ghost. Ready to respond to any global threat in the depths of the ocean where the pressure can crush even thick steel. A ship nuclear underground, quietly passed like a ghost, to be able to do that for deep diving, to maintain absolute stability and rise to the surface like never before. The submarine needs a depth control system. They've equipped it with a system. It's called the ballast system. The core of this system is ballast tanks, large hollow compartments along the hull. When the ship needs to go down, the valves will open to let the seawater flow in these cavities, increase the overall mass, and cause the ship to lose its buoyancy and slowly sink below the surface. The opposite when it needs to rise. Pneumatic high pressure will be pumped in to push water out of the chambers, reduces weight, and helps the ship regain buoyancy. But the difference here is accuracy with pressure sensors. Depth sensor and automatic electronic control system. Ship underground can remain stable at the desired depth for hours, even every day, without butting, to keep a steady depth after diving. The ship uses an ultra-sensitive pressure sensor system. Combined with the Finch equalizer at the head and stern, these bottles contain water, can be pumped back and forth between compartments, helps the ship keep its balance before and after. If the ship tilts its nose down too much, the water will move from the head to the tail, help the boat raise its nose. Simple principle, but requires extreme precision, because you just need to tilt a few degrees of deviation at a depth of 300 meters. It can also make structure, body under pressure deviation, and dangerous a factor survival when it comes to preparing for a surprise attack from the bottom of the ocean. If you're in waters near an enemy base, the ship will dive fast and deep to get out of radar sight, or avoid sound detectors. The opposite in emergency situations or breakthrough tactics when necessary. Extremely strong compressed air will be pumped into ballast tanks, pushing water out at high speed thrust surge. The ship emerged like a whale out of the water, hidden in the depths of the ocean. A nuclear submarine is a mobile fortress, and above all, it's the embodiment of absolute strategic independence, the heart of the machine. That giant machine is the nuclear propulsion system, a miniature reactor with the power beyond all traditional limits. It can cross thousands of nautical miles without floating to get oxygen. No need to refuel. There is no need to return to the base. The operating principle of this system, starting with nuclear fission. Inside the reactor are young materials containing uranium. 235 is enriched. Installed in an active zone surrounded by a moderator and a control bar. When neutrons bombard uranium nuclei, they separate and release enormous amounts of heat. It also produces more neutrons. Continue to maintain the chain reaction principle. This is similar to what happens in power plant reactors, nuclear energy, or on the atomic bomb. The heat generated is used to boil water, generates high-pressure steam resulting in the spinning of the steam bin that creates power and thrust for the propeller. The nuclear propulsion system is a closed loop, does not burn oxygen. It's completely independent of the outside environment. That's how submarines can dive hundreds of meters below the surface without having to refuel. Let's take a real example. The Virginia Block V-class nuclear submarine. With a capacity of up to 210 megawatts of heat, such an oven is designed so that there is no need to refuel throughout the life of the ship. It can operate continuously for about 33 years, without need to refuel for Columbian-class submarines. The most modern nuclear submarine in the U.S. today. Use of the new generation reactor can last more than 45 without refueling for the entire operating life cycle. It's a huge number. The number never existed in any kind of military hardware, like an airplane or a warship, ability to dive deep and operate continuously without refueling. That's the absolute advantage of nuclear submarines. In theory, a nuclear submarine can remain submerged for months at a time, even up to 6 months or more, ensure adequate food sources. Mental health for the crew in terms of tactics. The nuclear engine helps submarines operate in secret. Unexpected deployment and instant response with high speed and almost unlimited travel. American nuclear submarines like Ohio, Virginia, there is Seawolf can be deployed to any hotspot across the globe in a short time, carrying 10 cruise missiles. Tomahawk or intercontinental ballistic missile when needed, they can lie still in the deep sea in a state of ready to fire. It's not just the United States. Other naval powers like Russia, Chinese, English, and French. They've also invested heavily in nuclear engine technology for ships underground. However, not every country can master the cycle. Uranium enrichment, safe control of nuclear reactions in confined spaces, and leak management radiation under conditions of great depth and pressure. Russia's most modern nuclear submarine is the Bory class, has an average operating time of 20 up to 25 years before refueling is required. Another example is Type 94. China's most advanced ballistic missile submarine operating ability, about 10 up to 15 years before refueling is required. That's much lower than the American Columbia-class submarine. It can operate continuously for 45 minutes, the 6th century that no country has been able to break. The underwater stealth capabilities of nuclear submarines. It doesn't come from paint or in the form of a stealthy airplane. It's a combination of multiple technologies. To hide in the ocean, gliding like a ghost under the water. The first is the design of an elongated teardrop body, helps the water flow smoothly through the hull, minimize noise due to friction. But the key is in the dynamic system. Nuclear engine designed with rotating shaft muffler impeller, it eliminates almost all mechanical noise, the #1 enemy of invisibility. Out. The whole system inside from water pump to generator are all mounted on vibration. Isolating sound suspension systems. Keep the hull silent with every breath in terms of tactics. This invisibility allows for silent nuclear submarines. Stay close to the enemy. Penetration of sensitive waters and ready to launch a preemptive strike undetected. It's the invisible ghost in the ocean under the deep sea, where there is no air. And all life is frozen in the dark. Are you wondering that how does the submarine nuclear can dive continuously for several months without oxygen on a nuclear submarine equipped with a delivery system active oxygen that makes it an artificial lung in the middle of the ocean? On the submarine, the air cannot be replaced from outside, as on the ground. So to maintain concentration, stable oxygen for hundreds of people during months of deep diving nuclear submarines, using a nest complex oxygen generation and recycling systems. At the heart of this system is the water electrolyzer. Electrolytic oxygen generator. This device uses a strong current to separate water molecules into oxygen gas and hydrogen. Oxygen is put into the air inside the ship to maintain a respiratory rate of about 21%, while hydrogen, a dangerous flammable gas pushed out through safety pressure valve systems or be absorbed by special filters parallel to oxygen, generation submarines also need to remove CO2. Inevitable products of human respiration if not handled in just a few hours. Her gas can build up to the point of causing dizziness, nausea, and even death. To handle this, people use CO2 absorbers, use of chemicals such as lithium hydroxide or special adsorbent to trap the 2 constrictor out of the air about tactics control of the atmosphere. Such closed allowed submarine. Continuous operation underwater for many months without the need to float. This is the ultimate advantage. By rising to the surface to regenerate the air, it's like showing your head in the middle of a battlefield, an action that may be satellite or radar. The enemy discovered weapons equipped on submarines, including torpedoes, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and sea mines, depending on the design and mission of each ship, in which SSN attack ship, used to hunt submarines, surface ship scout support task force, usually armed with torpedoes and cruise missiles, and SSBN strategic ships, such as the Ohio class and the Columbia class of the United States. They are often armed with ballistic missiles to perform the task, nuclear deterrent, Tianlei, first on a nuclear submarine. It's called the modern torpedo. It's an autonomous underwater weapon. You can find it yourself and destroy the target with intelligent guidance as soon as you leave the tube. Jet motor or electric motor inside. Torpedoes are activated, propels it towards the target at extremely high speed. When approaching the target, instead of VA touching directly, most modern torpedoes use a near-burst mechanism, proximity detonation. They'll explode right at the bottom of the ship, where the weakest crust creates a giant bubble of air, cause the hull to rise and break under water pressure. It's a very destructive attack when a submarine fires a torpedo. Many people wonder at SAAO. Seawater does not spill back into the ship. The answer lies in the system's special mechanisms, torpedo tube. This system works through two layers of watertight doors, an inner door connected to the inner compartment of the vessel, and an open door to the sea when preparing to fire the torpedo is inserted into the launch tube. The inside door is completely closed. Separate from the rest of the ship, when the pressure is stable, the outer door is open. The torpedo will now be ejected by compressed air, or high-pressure pump system. A really quick push that gets it out of the tube. Before the door closes after the launch, the outer door is immediately closed. Water in the launch bay will be sucked out or discharged, go through closed valve system, and only if the pressure is stable. The inside door was opened to prepare for the next launch. This mechanism is like a water lock. It's similar to the principle of the airlock on a spacecraft. Thanks to closed process and tight pressure control, 0-1 drops. What seawater can penetrate the inner part of the ship, even though it's hundreds of meters below the surface, the principle of this operation. The same is true for submarines. Launch cruise missiles or ballistic missiles, but torpedoes are underwater weapons. It's designed to operate completely in the environment. Liquid and cruise, missile, or ballistic missiles, built to fly through the air, or even out of the atmosphere. So there's another problem. Missiles, especially ballistic ones, it cannot burn fuel during launch. Up from under the water, not only that water pressure will create tremendous resistance to destabilize the flight trajectory, it can even blow up the launch tube or burn down the insulation of the missile's fuselage. Instead, the submarine uses a cold launch system, usually by compressed air or high-pressure steam, to eject the missile from the launch tube in unfired state when the missile is several meters out of the water, where the environment is low pressure and no longer surrounded by water. New main engine is activated. Ensure efficiency and safety for the entire flight process. However, when a missile is launched from a submarine, determining the exact time to activate the combustion engine. After being out of the water, it's a delicate process. To be controlled by extremely precise sensor systems and programming mechanisms in reality, the missile doesn't detect the water by sense. Officials, as human beings, it's based on accelerometer sensors. Accelerometer, built-in pressure sensor, and time meter when pushed. Out of the ejection tube, by compressed air or steam, the missile starts measuring its upward velocity. The sensor's continuous pressure recording external pressure in water when the ambient pressure drops suddenly to, it's almost as high as atmospheric pressure. That means the missile's out of the water. The system will determine that it's safe to ignite the main engine. Burning too early in the water could break the missile. It burned too late will cause it to lose altitude and fall back into the ocean. So the process of timing, activating the engine is a masterpiece of technology, sensor absolute precision, automatic flight control, and programming developing a nuclear submarine. It's one of the biggest challenges that any country has ever faced. It's not just because of the technical complexity, but also because of geopolitical sensitivities and the huge economic demands first core of submarine. It's in a mini nuclear reactor. There's no parts on a nuclear submarine. It's caused engineers to lose more sleep than nuclear reactors in a tight space, darkness, and high pressure at the bottom of the sea. They have to integrate a machine. The power generator is powerful enough to operate the entire ship, but at the same time, it's absolutely safe. You can't let even one ray of radiation out. Nuclear reactor system on board. It's not like an underground oven on land. It must be compact, high automation capable of adjusting temperature and power instantly. According to each combat situation, one of the biggest challenges. It's cooling the reactor core. In the ocean, no air to dissipate heat, like a ground power plant. So the cooling system has to use circulating fluid at extremely high pressure. It's usually ultra-pure water. If the temperature rises abnormally, it's not controlled in time. The risk of melting the reactor core will turn the ship into a radioactive casket under the sea. It's no longer a nuclear submarine. It's going to be a real atomic bomb. That's a scenario where any great power. We also have to find every way to prevent out reactor. The core has to be covered in layers of shielding, special use lead alloy Kim-boron, and neutron-absorbing materials to prevent radiation from affecting the crew in the world today. Only 6 countries own it and operate a real fleet of nuclear submarines: USA, Russia, UK, France, China, and India. Some other countries like Brazil are growing, but it's still in the testing phase, while countries like Australia have the financial resources but still have to rely on technology support from the great powers to build a nuclear submarine. We need thousands of engineers, experts in the field of learning materials thermodynamics, thermodynamics, military electronics, working continuously for nearly 10 decades. The cost can range from $510 billion for one. That's enough to build a small city, and not to mention the maintenance costs of training sailors, construction of infrastructure for logistics services, but in exchange, owning the ship. The nuclear underground is not just a technical achievement, it's a strategic statement. A country capable of maintaining a nuclear deterrent ability to attack, to preempt or counterattack from any point in the ocean don't need to float undetected. That's why it's called the submarine game. Nuclear is not for many people because it requires wisdom, persistence, the courage and strategic courage of a nation. And that's why, at SAO, every time a new nuclear submarine is launched, the world has to slow down from the nuclear propulsion system, helped it dive deep for years. No need to float to the surface, to the ability to launch missiles with precision. Absolutely in the middle of the sea, every detail shows the perfect combination of techniques, nuclear physics mechanics, and strategic thinking. I think this is the end. Thank you for watching all the video.